So the Arizona Cardinals are entering year 3 of the Kyler Murray and Cliff Kingsbury combination. I'm not going to call it a make or break year because I don't think Kyler Murray is going anywhere, but it's a very important year for the Arizona Cardinals based on this being year 3 and some of the free agent acquisitions they made this offseason, bringing in some veterans like J.J. Watt, Malcolm Butler, A.J. Green, Rodney Hudson, and even Matt Prater at kicker. So I made a video about, I would say a month and a half ago, calling the Cardinals Super Bowl contenders, and some people don't really like that. But I feel like based on the talent they have on that roster, they pretty much put themselves in a position where, yes, they can win the Super Bowl if things break right. I think Kyler Murray in year 3 can have a very good year, and they have a really good defense now. I think it might be a top 10 defense in football. Their offensive line is no longer a joke, and they improved their weapons even more, adding A.J. Green, Rondell Moore, and guys like that, and hopefully this offense can go to a different level in 2021. So hopefully you guys enjoy this video. If you do, let me know in the comments and leave a like. I'm going to try and get to all 32 teams, so I'll get to your team eventually. I'm going to go in alphabetical order here, of course, but hopefully you guys enjoy, and here's my list. So number 1, as long as he avoids injury, Kyler Murray will be in the MVP discussion. So it wasn't too long ago, halfway through last year, Kyler Murray was in the MVP discussion. Of course, Russell Wilson got off to the great start, then Aaron Rodgers kind of took over, but there was a point in there, kind of after the Hail Murray game against the Buffalo Bills, where people are actually talking about Kyler Murray being the MVP of 2020. Then, of course, he had the shoulder injury on a Thursday night game, I believe it was, against the Seattle Seahawks. He wasn't running the ball as much anymore, and his stats kind of, took a slight dip, and he wasn't really the same guy anymore. But Kyler Murray, if he stayed healthy the whole year, definitely could have been the MVP if they made the playoffs. Of course, the Cardinals, towards the end, they kind of fell off. They started off 6-3. Things kind of went bad for them, and I feel like the Kyler Murray shoulder injury had a lot to do with that. So if you give me 17 healthy games with Kyler Murray, with a better roster around him, a better team around him, I think this guy can actually win MVP. I'm in love with his talent. He does special things with his legs. He's a great deep ball thrower. This guy doesn't need a great offensive line. He can make things happen outside the pocket. I feel like if you give Kyler Murray a healthy season, and hopefully that happens, I think MVP is a possibility for a guy like him. Number 2 for me is that they make the playoffs. Now, there are 3 wild card spots this year. Well, it was last year, but now this year as well. It makes things easier, but I do think the playoffs are very possible and should be expected for a team like this. Now, Vegas has them at 8 wins. I thought it'd be like 8.5 or 9. I was a bit surprised by that number. They have teams like the Vikings and the Saints ahead of them. I'm not so sure about those teams, honestly, but I could see Arizona making the playoffs. I don't see why not. They play in a tough division with the Rams, of course, who I think got better. Seattle, who I don't know what they're going to be, honestly, and San Francisco, who should be better. We'll find out what Trey Lance and Jimmy Garoppolo give them, but they have a very good roster. But at the same time, there's 3 wildcard spots. I feel like it could happen. Arizona has not made the playoffs since 2015, and of course they made the conference championship that year, but got absolutely blown out by the Carolina Panthers, who were 15-1 that year. So I feel like Arizona has the roster to do this thing, and I feel like, they do play in a tough division, but if everyone stays healthy, you get Chandler Jones back, if J.J. Watt's still playing at a high level, and once again, Kyler Murray plays like an MVP, I feel like making the playoffs is a possibility for this team. And number 3, I expect them to have one of the best front sevens in football, whether it's the top 5, the top 3, maybe even the best. I love Washington's group, of course, but we'll find out very quickly. They play the Tennessee Titans and Minnesota Vikings the first 2 weeks with their play action, and of course, Derrick Henry and Dalvin Cook. We'll find out relatively quickly, are the Cardinals very good in their front 7, or are they just average or overrated? We'll find out pretty soon. But you look at some of the names they have. Chandler Jones comes back from injury. They signed J.J. Watt. And some people think J.J. Watt is washed. I'm not one of those people. I still think he's a top 10 to 15 defensive end in football. Still a very good player. Is he the defensive player of the year anymore? No, but he's still a very good player in my opinion. So Jordan Hicks, Devon Kennard, Marcus Golden, last year's first round pick Isaiah Simmons at linebacker, and now this year's first round pick Zavin Collins, who is a big guy, big hitter, pretty good range. And now they enter year 3 of their defensive coordinator as well, Vance Joseph. So this defense should really be more familiar with what's going on here. So their defense was bottom 10 against the run last year, but they still finished tied for 4th in sacks, and that was with Chandler Jones out for half the year. Imagine if J.J. Watt and Chandler Jones play a full season. That could be the first or second best team in sacks in football. I really don't think that's far-fetched. Even Marcus Golden's a guy who had 10 sacks for my Giants a couple years ago. He's not bad either. So this team with their defensive talent can do special things in their front 7. Do I have questions about their cornerbacks? Absolutely. I think Malcolm Butler can still play in this league, but it's not a guarantee. We don't know about who Tay Gowan is and Marco Wilson, although I do like those guys. They have Robert Alford. We'll find out what he is, but in their front seven at least, a very good team. So that will do it for this video. Leave in the comments your 3 things you expect for the Arizona Cardinals in 2021. Up next, we have the Atlanta Falcons, which should be a fun one. New head coach, 4th overall pick Kyle Pitts. Is Julio Jones getting traded? I have no idea, but we'll find out. So hopefully you guys enjoy and stay tuned for future videos like this, and I'll talk to you guys next time.